Hi guys, this is gsndon.com and I'm here with the beautiful Xiaomi Mi 5. It's the Xiaomi flagship for the year 2016. It was unveiled in Barcelona at Mobile World Congress 2016 and it's the fruit of 18 months of development. It's priced at around $381 on GearBest in the 3GB of RAM, 32GB storage version, and it's the very first Snapdragon 820 processor-based device we're testing. It's time to talk about design. So the phone comes in black, white, gold or ceramic. Those are the color versions and includes the typical and famous format that involves glass back panel with curved edges and front glass panel, and sandwiched between the two of them is a aluminum frame. The phone measures a pretty slim 7.3mm in thickness and weighs 129 grams, which makes it both slimmer and lighter than the Galaxy S7, which is no small feat. It's also very slippery on account of the glass it uses, and once again it has curved backside edges, which remind me of the Mi Note before it and also of the Galaxy Note 5 and S7. We got a flat glass panel at the front, and there's also a slight angularity here. If you put your finger on it, you can feel the slightly angular edges that will meet the curved glass panel at the back. It's a comfy phone to use. It's actually one of the narrowest flagships I've played with. You can easily squeeze it with your entire hand. That's why I say it's so narrow and also very comfy, even though it's still pretty slippery. Has a dual glass design and both of the glass panels involve Gorilla Glass 4 layers, and we get 3D glass at the back. This is one of the narrowest bezels I've seen on any screen ever, and we also have comfy buttons on this side here. This one isn't exactly very comfy, but it does the job. It's a beautiful and premium phone made of premium materials and one of the best looking Galaxy S7 rivals. Now on the hardware side of things, we're dealing here with a model that sports a 5.15-inch screen. It's an IPS LCD Full HD panel and it comes with an innovation. It includes 16 LED lights for extra brightness. And we don't have any specialized video player, so we have to resort to the gallery for our playback. Okay, and this is our usual test video, so let's enjoy it. You can only set up the volume, brightness and aspect ratio, so no fancy features here. But let's enjoy the clip. As you can see, we have pretty big black edges around the actual image, which are not exactly pleasant to see, but the screen itself is bright and the blacks are pretty deep. The colors are vivid but also realistic, and we have good contrast, which manifests in no problem in full sunlight. View angles are also pretty wide. Now if you want to talk about the brightness level, well, that checks out in a pretty important and powerful way. So let's go to the gallery and check out the brightness level. We achieved 550 lux units, which is excellent. Still, it's no Galaxy S7. That one achieved 716 lux in full sunlight. We beat the Sony Xperia Z5 and HTC One A9 at least. We also beat the Nexus 6P and we're pretty close to the iPhone 6, actually very close. And obviously we have specialized settings for set screen, which I'm going to show you right now. And display brightness level, of course, there's also reading mode that will reduce the glare, and it has various levels of strength, and also it can be tweaked for certain apps. Then we have colors and contrast with warmer or cooler options, and then in the contrast section, automatic, increased contrast or standard depending on your preference. This is an excellent screen, I have to highlight that yet again. And now it's time to talk about the hardware. As I said before, it's the first Qualcomm Snapdragon 820 processor we test. It has the Adreno 530 GPU, comes with 3 or 4 GB of RAM of the LPDDR4 kind, 3264 or 128 GB of storage, and of course the device suffers absolutely no lag, no problem. It has excellent performance, a very fluid user interface, and it can easily breeze through any game you throw at it. Throw at it Asphalt 8, Dead Trigger 2, Nova 3, throw at it any game that takes up 2 GB of space or more maybe, and it will have no problem and even no overheating, so that's nice. So if you take Riptide GP2 and turn all the details to the max, textures, shadows, dynamic lighting, you will not be disappointed. Excellent gaming and excellent performance, and this is quite a hit because for the first quarter of the year 2016, when Antutu published its benchmark results, the first place model was this one here. So the most powerful in Antutu is the Xiaomi Mi 5. Now if you want to talk about the benchmarks, as usual you'll find more of them in our text review, but we also did some of them here. We had Geekbench 3, which this test is actually below the results of the Galaxy S7, but not by a huge amount. And meanwhile, the most important score remains the one on Antutu that broke all the records and remains pretty impressive. And as you can see, we did more of them. We have GFX, we also have Basemark, and overall this model scores first in Antutu, 135k points, and also first from all the models we tested in 3D Mark, iStorm Unlimited. We've never seen such a high result, and that's very impressive. Here it is, a huge score here, the most powerful phone we had in this benchmark. Still, in Geekbench 3, the old Antutu and Quadrant were below Galaxy S7. When it comes to the temperature, well, let's see what's happening. So we measured a temperature of 35.9 degrees Celsius after 15 minutes of gaming, and we then did another test which allowed us to achieve 38.9 degrees Celsius after doing the GFX benchmark. So there is no overheating here, forget about that totally. This phone doesn't come with headphones bundled, and it has two grills at the bottom, so you guessed it, it's time to talk about the acoustics. There may be two grills, but only the right one is the speaker. Now the player, there are two of them here, there's Play Music and Music associated to MIUI 7, and we get support for AAC, MP3, PCM, FLAC and Wave. It's a very minimalistic player, and the equalizer only works with headphones. So let's actually listen to a tune. You just saw some of the equalizer options, once again only with headphones, basically 7 channel sliders in frequencies and genre settings. Now the actual experience, we have a crisp sound, a pretty good volume, a clear sound, good bass, and it's also good with high notes. However, when using the decibel meter to actually measure the performance, we weren't exactly impressed by the value of 80.7 decibels. It's quite modest. The Galaxy S7 has 84 decibels, and we scored below the Huawei P8 and above the Sony Xperia Z5 Premium at least. There is no FM radio, just so you know, so the acoustics are just okay. Okay folks, time to talk about the camera, so let's start from the back. There's a 16 megapixel shooter here with 4-axis optical image stabilization, f2.0 aperture and a sapphire lens glass, as well as two-tone flash and face detection autofocus. It has the same Sony sensor as the Huawei Mate 8, and at the front we have a full ultra pixel camera with f2.0 aperture and 2 micron pixels. Now the camera app, it starts up very fast, and speaking of fast, we also have fast focus here, so let's play with the focus a bit. Focusing here, here or here. So fast focus, fast camera opening, fluid zoom, and also fast picture taking. Okay, so I have to say that this interface is very bare bones and minimalistic. We don't have many options, and if we swipe down, you can reach the filters. If we swipe up, we find the main modes like audio, beautify, fisheye, timer, straighten, tilt shift, which adds a bit of blur around the image in certain locations. And then we have panorama, manual, and a special night mode. And then come the settings that include save location info, watermark, grid lines, QR codes, and more. However, for some strange reason, there's no trace here of an actual resolution setting, at least for the pictures. Now you can activate HDR from here, and in the video area you only have audio focus, slow motion and time lapse, and you can set up the resolution to 4K, Full HD, HD or SD, and a few other features. Okay, those are all the options you'll be playing with. We'll detail the manual mode in the full text review. Now, when it comes to the actual gallery, as usual, we have a ton of shots for you. As you can see, they were taken at night, during the day, in 2 separate towns, so we have 318 photos to show you. Most of the gallery was taken on a cloudy day, and still this was a good opportunity to put the HDR to good work, so regular shot and HDR shot, which comes in pretty handy. Just notice the difference here. Regular shot and HDR shot, much brighter and crisper. I have to say that when zooming in at the max level, some details were lost, but among the good things, we have realistic colors, also some good texture here, like this one in the ducks, the boat shaped like ducks, you can see here. Nice texture of these ducks, and there weren't many blurry shots, which is a compliment for any phone. Considering you take 300 shots and you don't have blurry ones, that's a big compliment. We have good exposure, white balance and good focus. However, it does take a bit longer than I like to focus in close-ups. Here we are, one of the close-ups, not exactly as focused as I liked it to, but in the end it worked. This is the panorama, which is not as impressive as I wanted it. I'm talking about the resolution, which could have been higher. Attempts at a close-up. First is blurred, the second comes out okay, so as I said before, takes a bit longer than I like to get it right. And then we started playing with the effects. So we played with fisheye, which frankly feels useless, and then we started playing with the tilt shift. As you can see, blurred edges and the focus on the center of the picture. Okay, then it was time to take some selfies, and I'm pretty happy with the result. As you can see, the background is blurred to highlight the face of the subject, in this case me, and the texture of the skin is excellent, although feeling a bit artificial, but I'm pretty fond of the way the selfies came out. And other than that, let's see a good close-up here. This one, you see this statue of a dog, and an excellent close-up finally after many attempts of focusing. I have to highlight the colors, very realistic and very vivid, without oversaturation or any problems like that. We also caught a peacock, and this time when we zoomed in, there was no problem with detail loss, which is good news. Now we continue the analysis of shots and move over to some other attempts. Here we play with the focus quite a bit, and we had our share of blurred shots, which, as I said before, don't happen very often, but in the end they do happen when you play with the focus too much. Now we changed the town, we move to another one, and this one is a very impressive shot. You can actually start to zoom in all you want on the phone, on the PC, and still you'll see no detail loss. Excellent texture, color, exposure and white balance. Once again a cloudy day, but this green really pops out of the screen, so very good here. Although when we started zooming in on this pigeon, some grain did appear eventually. Okay, more shots as usual, full gallery in the text review, and now it's time for the low light capture. So we have okay clarity, good colors. Some areas are a bit too yellow and the street lights feel a bit too big for my viewing pleasure. We have good texture for the buildings, and there is a very nice gloss of these images taken during the night. The flash is also very good, but if you zoom in at night, forget about it. You'll see that you lose a lot of quality. The flash feels a bit too powerful, which I found out here when trying to take a shot of a flower, and finally it either came out blurred or burnt like this, so flash a bit on the powerful side. But the colors look quite good during full nighttime. So conclusions here about this phone, I have to say that it's very close to the Huawei Nexus 6P, very close, but not as good as that one during the night, and the colors are better during the day than the Huawei Mate 8 and the Lenovo Vibe X3, and overall it's about 10% below the Samsung Galaxy S7. Now if you're wondering about the video, you can shoot MP4, Full HD, 4K, 30 frames per second, and with a bitrate of either 15 or 42 mega per second. So video number one. A pretty good microphone here, and there's lots of refocusing happening, okay colors and clarity, and pretty good stabilization, which I actually tested in a separate video. And let's check out the stabilization clip, which is this one. I descended a flight of stairs in the park just to test the optical image stabilization because Xiaomi praised the 4-axis stabilization so much. I have to say that it's just an okay stabilization, it's nothing fantastic or out of the ordinary, it's just good because there's no focus lost during the test. Good colors and pretty clear image. And let's see more of these shots. We got a peacock yet again, also on video. And we zoomed on it and still the quality was good. We also have a slow motion clip that looks nice. So overall, okay stabilization, good quality, good colors. But during the night time, there was a big bummer because the video capture looked very bad and very dark. Basically, you don't see anything till you actually meet a source of light, even with the flash on. Well, I've seen phones handling the dark better. Anyway, you can see this on YouTube and judge for yourself. Overall, I'd say that the video capture, overall meaning the day and the night, is above the Lenovo Vibe X3 and above the Huawei Honor 7, but below the Galaxy S7 Edge. Time to talk about something else, and by something else I mean the browser for starters. So let's access gsmdown.com. We're dealing here with the MIUI browser. Very simple, very intuitive, and also pretty fast, which is confirmed by the good scores in benchmarks. The keyboard, meanwhile, is the stock one from Lollipop and Marshmallow. Now, if you want to talk about the connectivity, we're dealing here with a dual SIM phone with 2 nano SIM card slots and 4G LTE as well as VO LTE. There's also Wi-Fi 802.11 ABGN AC. It's Wi-Fi dual band with MIMO, Bluetooth 4.2, NFC, GPS and GLONASS, as well as infrared, which you can see right here, the emitter. And when it comes to the calls, they were actually loud and clear. The signal is good, and we tested the Wi-Fi speed via a local router, 21 megabits in download, 24 in upload, which is just an okay result, not more than that. Now, if you want to talk about the battery, this smartphone has inside a 3000 mAh lithium polymer unit, which we put to the test, and it actually was very impressive. First of all, it comes with a quick charge 3.0, and now let's find the performance. So we achieved a huge result of 12 hours and 5 minutes of continuous HD video playback in a loop, which is fantastic. It beats the Galaxy Note 5 and the Galaxy S6 Edge Plus, but still it's below the Galaxy S7 with its 13 hours and 41 minutes. Another good result is the one in PC Mark, 7 hours and 42 minutes of continuous usage. It's quite good, it's about 20 minutes below the Galaxy S7, but beats the Galaxy S6 and the Nexus 6P as well as the Galaxy S6 Edge. The charging is the strong suit of the phone. This may be an USB Type-C phone, but it's also the one with the fastest charging. 1 hour and 22 minutes, usually we don't see USB Type-Cs charging a phone that fast, so 1 hour and 22 minutes, which is excellent. We also have special profiles and settings for the battery, which are pretty well hidden away. So battery and power and battery profiles, which include default, marathon and sleep, but you can create your own related to memory cleaning, brightness, sleep, airplane mode, vibration, sync and all that, and activate it at a certain time and at a certain level of the battery percentage. So overall an excellent battery, and now it's time to discuss the OS, UI and applications. This is MIUI 7, actually MIUI 7.2 based on Android Marshmallow. It's very simple, there's no app drawer here, and multitasking is done like this. A simple list, a horizontal scrolling list of apps, a swipe up and you close them. If you pinch the screen, you will access the area that lets you move apps, a series of very simple widgets, and wallpapers, and of course effects, which mean transitions. The drop-down section includes notifications and of course quick settings and a media player plus the brightness slider. Now the lock screen holds daily wallpapers in this area and a shortcut for the camera. You can tweak the wallpapers and have a new one every day. And in the dock area here you find the most important apps, and you can have up to 5 of them in that portion. If you want to uninstall an app, you will simply have to keep it pressed and drag it to the recycle bin at the top of the screen. Now if you want to see the settings, which I'm sure you do, you'll find here all sorts of options like themes, We got text size, we got do not disturb, we got a child mode, extra settings, language and input, privacy, notification light, button settings and more, plus the fingerprint scanner, which is actually great. So lock screen, and let's see how this is done. Password and fingerprint, confirm the pin, and lock screen. So let's see if this has been applied. Okay, it works. Let's try it again. This time it's not that kind of fingerprint scanner that you just touch and it works. You actually have to press something before you touch it. So here we go. I have to admit, it's one of the fastest fingerprint scanners I've seen. It usually takes 1 extra millisecond. Well, this one does not require that extra millisecond. However, the setup was not exactly very fast. It was a 12-step setup. Now we're at that part of the review where we count the pre-installed apps. There aren't many of them here, so no bloatware. I counted 30 of them, and we have this one called Security, which basically cleans the memory, takes care of viruses and all that. Then we got tools, typical ones like recorder, compass, and this one here that lets you control your TV set, Blu-ray player and all that using the infrared emitter at the top. Then we got the scanner for QR codes, we got themes, we got this one for beefed up security and viruses, weather, notes, explorer, and that's pretty much it. 30 apps, no bloatware, keep that in mind. Some people may consider this UI a bit too simple for their tastes. Now we have reached the end of the review, time for the pros and cons. On the pro side, it's a beautiful phone with premium materials. It has an excellent screen, huge performance, it takes great selfies, has a pretty good back camera, excellent battery, and it's one of the fastest phones on the market, also has one of the fastest fingerprint scanners. Those are the pros. On the cons side, it's very slippery, the acoustics are just okay, the camera could have more options for the average user, so it doesn't have many options. There is lots of refocusing during filming, and low light video is actually quite poor. And also MIUI 7 is not exactly for everyone, but you can change the launcher if you want to. So overall, I would call this the next level phone. Why? Because it has the most powerful CPU right now, the Snapdragon 820, also fast USB Type-C charging, which is also next level technology, and those 16 LEDs within the screen, next level yet again. So Xiaomi Mi 5, next level flagship, priced at a very affordable rate, some stores below $400, which is crazy good for the most powerful CPU on the market. It's for the people who like a phone that doesn't have a huge pedigree like Samsung but still delivers. This is it from gsno.com. Bye bye.